I'm Bill Shepard. You're listening to Gospel Tangents.
Welcome to Gospel Tangents, the best source for Mormon history, science, and theology. I'm Rick Bennett. Following James Strang's prophetic call, he decided to go on several Mormon missions and see who he could seek for converts. In our next conversation with historian Bill Shepard, we'll talk about some of those recognizable converts, such as Martin Harris and William Smith, as well as John E. Page. So it's going to be an interesting conversation. You won't want to miss it. Check out our conversation. Hey, I just wanted to mention one other thing. As you know, Gospel Tangents is part of the Dialogue Podcast Network, and we've teamed up with Lyceum.fm, that's Lyceum.fm, and you can hear our episodes along with Beyond the Block and Dialogue Podcast Network. So if you want to check it out there, it's still free, although they do have some premium things as well. So go to Lyceum.fm and you can hear Gospel Tangents as well as some of your other favorite episodes of part of the Dialogue Podcast Network. Now back to our conversation. So let me back up just a little bit here, because I want to make sure we cover a couple other things. So Joseph Smith was killed June 27th, 1844. And that's when James Strang had this vision or visitation. An angel came and ordained him. I know that there was also a letter of appointment. We kind of talked about that, but we didn't talk about that in great detail. Can you tell us a little bit more about this letter of appointment?
In the letter of appointment, Joseph Smith is going to say that initially that he would have to back up some too to indicate that James J. Strang actually walked from Burlington, Wisconsin to Nauvoo in March of 1844. He's going to...
This is just about 3 months before the martyrdom,
right? Right. He's going to stay in the mansion house. He's going to be baptized by Joseph, ordained to be an elder by Hiram. And Strang says that Joseph Smith realized that Strang had good knowledge as far as geography and population and all this. So according to Strang, he said Joseph sent him to go home and write about the benefits of your area for a gathering. Whether it meant a massive gathering, it didn't say, but for a gathering. And we know that Joseph was seeking a number of places of exile at that time. So Strang, of course, goes back to Burlington, and he writes this letter to Joseph Smith saying that this would be a good area. It would be healthy. There's good water, good timber, and so forth like this. And the Strangite view is then that Joseph Smith writes this letter of appointment immediately prior to his martyrdom, saying that the wolves are after the flock and so forth, and that he will be shortly taken.
So at this time, Joseph Smith was sending a lot of people out. I know I talked with Mel Johnson, and he sent Lyman White to Texas. He sent James Strang to Wisconsin. There was talk about the Oregon Territory, California, the Great Basin. So there was kind of a lot of different places. Would it be fair to say that the people who went on these missions all were kind of campaigning, hey, come to Texas, come to Wisconsin, come to California, or whatever? Okay, so this is kind of what was going on in the last year of Joseph's life, is he kind of sending out feelers about where should we move. It's getting too
and of course Joseph really knew that Nauvoo had it, that they had to go. So again, the Strangite view is that Strang goes to Nauvoo, meets Joseph Smith, baptized, ordained an elder, submits a report, and then he has, at the time of Joseph Smith's death, that this had this angelic visitation. And the strongest thing for this James Strang is that he represented primitive Mormonism. And there were a significant amount of people in the Nauvoo area, but not only in Nauvoo, in Kirtland, throughout the East, that really looked at the 12 apostles with a lot of suspicion, because they're hearing these stories about polygamy and secret societies, and there was
the Danites.
Yes, certainly. So there was already this suspicion against the 12 apostles by a significant amount of people, but again, I emphasize there wasn't a huge influx of people to James Strang's gathering place. A lot of the people that were unhappy with Brigham choose to stay at Kirtland or wherever they're in Michigan or wherever they're residing. Now, personally, I think around 500 or 600 people came to Voree, which might be low, but again, I emphasize that these people are very poor, and so you don't have any men of great renown, people that are really respected in the church, like a Taylor or Pratt or whatever. So, but you do get two apostles. Johnny Page is damaged because he didn't go to the Holy Land with Hyde. And he's looked at as kind of a malcontent. And he doesn't come to Voree right away. He'll stop halfway and have to be pampered and brought into Voree. And he was of minimal use to Strang as far as... so Strang really was desperate for leading, solid administrators, people that could go out and bring the flock in, because the flock was out there throughout the East. There were many Mormons, again, at Kirtland. Now, Strang is going to go to Kirtland, I think, in September of 1846, and they're going to sweep Kirtland. The people are going to join him. They establish a high council, a presidency over the, and Strang has keys to the temple, and so everything looks rosy.
Oh wow! So he was really making inroads in Kirtland.
And in Kirtland and in the East, that throughout, wherever he would go, the Mormons, this fit the bill, because this was primitive Mormonism, So Strang made, in my view, he unwisely. He dealt with some people that had been malcontents in Joseph's church, which was disastrous for his cause. John C. Bennett, William E. McClellan, George J. Adams, William Smith, and so in retrospect, I would think he would look back and say, "Why did I do this?"
Wasn't Martin Harris? Didn't he join with the Strang for a while?
And that triumphant mission of Strang out east, the three witnesses, and most of the 8 witnesses, I now realize some of them would be dead, but they acknowledge Strang, they acknowledge him. So for a brief instant, and I would say it's very short, Strang is going to make these grandiose, he is attracting a lot of people.
People who didn't like Brigham Young and polygamy.
Right, exactly. As secret societies, any of that. So many of them do not gather out to Voree. However, they choose to give their allegiance from a distance. Several things happened. One thing happened that I look at the picture, and the person that did him the most damage was William E. McClellan.
Okay.
William E. McClellan had been cut off in 1837.
I was following the Kirtland banking crisis.
Yes, but he's going to leave and go, but he's going to officially leave the church in 1837. So he is attracted to Strang. So he comes to Voree, and he is made one of the 12 apostles. And then there's a record later that he had his nose at a joint because he wasn't in the first presidency. And so he immediately goes and sees the 3 witnesses, and he goes to Kirtland. And within 2 months of Strang securing Kirtland, that it's going to be lost. So,
oh wow, I didn't know it was so short.
So yeah, it was really very short. So the high point of Strang's ministry would have been this window from January of 46 to the fall of 46. But there was, and then you had Johnny Page at Voree, and he's going to hang around for a year or two, but they'll go to Page and say, you've got to go on this mission. And there'll be something in the Gospel Herald that says, and Brother Page is going to go to New York State and he's going to extinguish brigamism. But he wouldn't go. He would find excuses. And so he hangs around for I don't have the time he left Voree. He's going to stay till 1850, but he's going to start to become increasingly inactive, and he's going to edit the paper for a while. And he really wrote some rather really good things, doctrinal articles that are still valued to this day. But Page was probably burnt out because he was so valiant in the early years, especially in the Canadian missions. But he is in Missouri, and a wife and 2 children are going to die from the mobbings and so forth like this. So he is never the same after this. He's going to hang out in Philadelphia and other places, but he's not going to come to Nauvoo and be with his peers and so forth like this. So Page was really didn't have the ability to get out and be a missionary again. And so I believe it's in 1848 that he starts a mission. He gets halfway to Racine, which is about 30 miles from Burlington, and he apostatizes. He leaves.
Oh, wow.
He leaves the church. So, and that had the problem of, here you have the former head of the 12 apostles staying in the Voree area and being contentious, and he was with a group of people called the Pseudos. Now the Pseudos are ex-Mormons, so they're right in Voree. So it wasn't a happy place.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation with historian Bill Shepard. In our next conversation, we'll find out that James Strang actually translated some plates.
Right off the bat, James J. Strang is going to claim. He is going to claim that an angel appeared to him and said that there are seal plates on this prominent hill in Voree or in Burlington, the outskirts.
If you'd like to hear the entire interview uncut, please subscribe to patreon.com/gospeltangents, and for just $5 a month, you can hear the entire interview without any interruption. If you'd like a paperback version of our transcripts, go to Amazon.com and do a search for Gospel Tangents interview. Also, if you'd like to give the money to me and not Amazon, please subscribe on my website, and I'll be able to send you a transcript as soon as they are completed, and click the subscribe button. You can also find our latest information on Facebook.com/GospelTangents, as well as we're on Twitter @GospelTangents. And don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts. The link is at tinyurl.com/GospelTangents, and you can subscribe there. Also, please give us a 5-star review. If you want to support all of the podcasts as part of the Dialogue Podcast Network, go to lyceum.fm, that's lyceum.fm, and do a search for Dialogue Podcast Network or Gospel Tangents, because, that's a pretty cool one too. Thanks again for listening. Click here to subscribe, here for a transcript, and over here we've got some of our great videos. Thanks again.